What's up, fight fans? This is Kirk DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Big Bang Zhang. Get this. Zhang puts Eddie Hearn on notice. He says, quote, if Hearn is really interested in Joshua, send over a contract. The 6'6" Asian Chinese boxer said this. He said, I think Joshua is a big option for me considering Fury and Usyk have signed for a unification fight to happen next. I have history with Anthony Joshua and I used to be with Matchroom Boxing, but they never wanted to make the fight with me, Zhang told Gambling.com. He also said, all of a sudden, there is now talk from Eddie Hearn about a fight between myself and Anthony Joshua, but I never saw anything materialize with the fight. If they really are interested, I am here 24/7, so send over the contract and we will go on. When I was with Matchroom, my team spoke with Matchroom face-to-face, and they knew I wanted the fight, but they never decided to make it for whatever reason. I can go to London for the fight with Joshua, Saudi Arabia, and also China is an option. And let me counterpunch. I think Zhilei Zhang is picking up that, should I say, he's picking back up that shield that Joe Joyce once had. And I can respect it 100%. See, Joe Joyce didn't have to fight Zhilei Zhang, but he did. He lost twice, back to back. Okay. But he didn't have to take that fight. Zhilei Zhang, I know Joshua is pretty much one of those cash out options, really, because that's like the type of fight, well, he used to be. But the point is, he's willing to fight these guys. Now, Zhilei Zhang versus Anthony Joshua, if he would have fought Anthony Joshua before and lost, everybody would have called Zhang a cherry pick based on his performances that we really wasn't impressed with. Because I know a couple, like the Jerry Forrest fight. The Jerry Forrest fight wasn't an impressive fight for Zhilei Zhang. So based on that night, people didn't really look at Zhang as a decent contender, really. Sure, he was undefeated at once upon a time, controversial loss to Filip Hrgovic, but he redeemed himself with Joe Joyce. But I think it's needless to say Joe Joyce had a bigger run or a more successful run than Zhilei Zhang did. Zhilei Zhang got the opportunity and he fought Filip Hrgovic. Filip Hrgovic was another fighter that was actually being avoided, okay? So they fought each other. And Filip, got the nod from the judges, okay? Well, he goes on to fight Joe Joyce, and by that time, Joe Joyce had took out Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker, the first one to stop him. So, that win was very impressive, okay? And the second win was absolutely impressive, okay? It was over the hill. Now he's getting looked at by guys like Eddie Hearn. But I do agree with Zhilei Zhang. Eddie Hearn talks a lot, and sometimes Eddie talks just to hear himself, I think. I think he's trying to cross every T and dot every I on the possibility of fighting anyone and everyone, but not sending a contract to no one. Okay? So, I'm right. You're right about that. I think Zhilei Zhang is fed up with the whole idea of people talking his name up, but not really sending him anything. Like Floyd, Money Mayweather says, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding, right? And if they want to fight, send the contract. I mean, as simple as that. They send it, they fax it or whatever they do, right? Scan it, and Zhang's managers and lawyers will look over it. It's just as easy as that, man. Really. They make revisions and then they send it back, and that process starts and all this, But Eddie's talking about the possibility of fighting Zhang. It's better to fight Zhang now, since a lot of people thought that he was cherry picked before. Because if Anthony Joshua would have fought him and beat him, that's the first thing everybody would say, he fought the older Chinese guy. Right? I mean, that would have been the narrative. But he didn't. He fought Jermaine Franklin, and he fought Hellenius. Okay. So, but Eddie, I think he's right. I think, Zhilei Zhang's a no nonsense guy and he's looking for these fights, especially if he can't fight for the heavyweight champion of the world. He could at least fight the former heavyweight champion of the world. Why not? I mean, I would love to see it. I don't know why he didn't fight Joshua at Matchroom. Maybe Joshua's on another wavelength or whatever, right? But of course, Luis Ortiz was once with Matchroom, and those fights didn't happen. So, it's a lot to think about when these guys once upon a time used to be with Matchroom. Luis Ortiz, Zhilei Zhang, Michael Hunter. These guys were all with Matchroom, and for whatever reason, they left Matchroom. Okay, so not everybody that was with Matchroom had a good ride or had a happy promotional time with Matchroom. So you guys tell me what you think of Zhilei Zhang calling out Eddie Hearn by way to get to Anthony Joshua. If you want the fight, send the contract. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!